Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's Friday. First things first, I want to thank every one of you guys for subscribing. I was able to reach 1,000 subscribers today, so thank you very much for that. It means the world to me. I give myself a year to get to this point, and it's only taken me 4 months, so thank you very much, everyone. I hope you guys enjoy the content that I put out, obviously, and look forward to a fun next year. Obviously, we still have 2 weeks to go in this year, but it's almost over, so thank you for subscribing if you haven't done so already. A couple things I want to talk to you guys about now is I want to put things kind of in a perspective of with Bitcoin price, where it's at right now, and where we were in the past. A couple other stories on Nike getting more involved in the Metaverse space. We got some Congress news as far as the hearings that are going on. I want to talk about that. And also today or yesterday was the anniversary of Bitcoin reaching its bear market on this day 3 years ago, which was a little like 3,000 something. So we'll get into that, but first let's get into the charts, and then we'll get into the news, and we'll call it a day. All right, so Bitcoin obviously right now is at 46,298. It is down, obviously, this week. It is down today. My biggest concern right now, looking at the chart here, is that we are getting really close to the 20-day moving average here, which is the red line going down, crossing the 200-day moving average, which that might be a concern, which might lead us to come back down and fall to the 40,000 mark here possibly before we eventually continue the uptrend going up, if that happens, or we may continue going down, but I just don't see that happening right now. I think we may come down a little bit more. I keep telling you guys that the more time something touches a line like it has here with our 47,000 mark, we touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've obviously fallen below it. We've touched it here a couple of times, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't test our next support line, which is right around the 45,000 mark, 44,700, something like that, and then see if we go down further. I do think eventually, in order for us to get back up, is for our candle to touch the 20-day moving average, and then if that touches it and goes above it, I think then we'll start the next part of the rally here. That's just my own 2 cents. You guys can do with it as you may. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Okay, let's take a look at Ethereum really quick here. Ethereum is also down below our support here of 3,950 roughly. It has fallen way below it. It's fallen below it before again. So we're trying to find what our support is right now. There's nothing really here to look back, maybe around this line, which is around the 3,580 line mark kind of support. So right now, this is going to become our resistance at the 3,950, and our possible support is going to be right around here at 3,580. So we'll just have to monitor, see how that happens. Obviously, we've crossed the 20-day and 50-day moving averages, so we may see a further pullback down, or we may get a nice Christmas rally here coming up towards the end of the month. We just don't know. And the same goes for Bitcoin. We could just touch these 2 lines here, the 20-day and the 200-day moving averages, and we could possibly go up. But right now, it looks like RSI is holding flat, but we're falling down, which isn't a good sign. We're kind of like in this accumulation phase for Bitcoin. So we'll see how this plays out. If we look at the market cap here of Bitcoin really quick, we can see that Bitcoin market cap is below 1 trillion. It is at 875 billion right now. We've obviously gone way down from our high that we've had just a couple of weeks ago on it. But if we look at it in the long term, in the long picture, kind of give a perspective on Bitcoin a little bit, we can see that on the daily chart, we're obviously in the red. But if we look 7 days, we're still in the red, okay. 1 month, we're definitely in the red in 1 month. 3 months, we were green. We're kind of in the red a little bit now. But then if you look at the 1 year, we're in the green, right? And then if you look at all the year-to-date and the all-time, we're still in the green. So there's a story on it from Cointelegraph. So happy bear day, Bitcoin. It's been 3 years since BTC bottomed at 3.1K, and this was 3 years ago. So just to kind of give it in perspective, we're at 46,000 right now, and we're complaining. When 3 years ago we were at 3.1K. Kind of look at both sides of it. So if it drops down a little bit more, we're still going to be up from that. So as long as you didn't buy at the top, which a lot of you might have done, dollar cost average in, not financial advice, but dollar cost average in, And then we'll see what the next leg of the bull run or the bear market is. A lot of people are saying that we may not have a bear market like we've had in the past, where we've lost 90%, or 80% of the value. We may just have these 30, 40, maybe even 50% corrections, and then continue the bull run going forward. Part of the reason for that is a lot of institutions are involved. Let's take a quick look at the total hash rate here. So this is the total hash rate on the network right now. We've come down a little bit from our high here of 181. We are now at 173, so we still are in the highs right now. And then if we look at, let's take a look at the miners here. Let's see here. Yeah, so let's take a look at the miners, and then we'll get into the other stories. So the miners obviously were down today for the most part. A couple of them were up, surprisingly. So DMG was down on the day, down another 12%, down to 60 cents right now. There hasn't been any news on any of these guys. Let's take a look if we have any analysts or institutions updates, and we don't. Riot was down 2.6 to 23.24. No institutional updates right here. And then if we look at Mawson was up actually today, 8.69. So they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of greens, which is really surprising because we haven't seen anything from them as far as news-wise or anything that would result in them going up while everybody else is going down and Bitcoin's going down. So this is very, very interesting to me. If we look at the news here, there hasn't been any news. I mean, the latest one was 6 hours ago. The only thing they reported was a report back 3 days ago, a report on cryptocurrency and the distributed digital economy in Australia. But we've been going on for 7 days now, 4 days, and then we're going back down. So I don't know if somebody gave them a buy in one of these magazines or what's going on, but I have no idea where they're going up, other than maybe being way undervalued. But now we'll have to look at the valuation, but I think they might be close to being rightly valued or overvalued based on where things are. Let's take a look at Mara. Mara was down 4.66% to 33.86. Institutions, nothing has been updated yet. Everything is still old information. Hut 8 was at 780 today, down 2% roughly. And nothing has changed for them either on the institution side. Hive was down 152 to 259. So you can still see that continuation of slide going. And let me see here. Nothing new reported on institutions. Same thing for CleanSpark. CleanSpark at least had an update today, is up 1.21% to 1171. And nothing changed on institutions. Bitfarms, same thing, down 3.47 to 473. And they were nothing new here for them. So I'll probably do a video on these guys tomorrow, see based on where they are with the price and where the Bitcoin is to see which one is now undervalued and which one is overvalued. And that'll either be out tomorrow or Sunday, depending on when I have time to do it for you guys. All right, so let's get into the stories here really quick. So the first story is Nike moves deeper into the metaverse by acquiring virtual sneaker designer RTFKT. I don't know how you would pronounce that, right? I don't want to say the word, but you can sound it out. So Nike is taking another step into the metaverse by acquiring RTFKT Studios, a virtual sneaker and collection startup. So I did a video on the metaverse a little bit yesterday or the day before, and just going over a high-level overview. And it is really interesting what's going on in that space. There's a lot of players in it. There's a lot of people involved getting into it. So I wanted to cover this a little bit more with you guys. So while the deal is already being seen by many as Nike's way of saying, just do it to the Web3 era, it'll also likely signal to NFT startups and legacy clothing brands alike that the world of virtual fashion will further heat up in 2022, which is correct. So there is a potential to possibly make money in this space. Founded in 2019, RTFKT was becoming increasingly popular with sneaker and Web3 enthusiasts and has gained momentum during the NFT boom that began earlier this year. In February, the startup released several virtual sneaker designs in collaboration with the artist Fawaushi and quickly made more than $3 million by selling more than 600 pairs that can't even be worn in the physical world. Right? So this is the metaverse, it's the digital world. In March, it partnered with Atari on a limited edition Atari-themed virtual sneaker. And just last month, RTFKT partnered with the artist Takashi Murakami on an NFT auction to sell 20,000 3D avatars that are part of the Cyclone X collection. Obviously, the terms were not disclosed, but Nike President and CEO John Donahoe said in a statement that the deal accelerates Nike's digital transformation and allows us to serve athletes and creators at the intersection of sport, creativity, gaming, and culture. So just want to bring that out to you guys. This is just another little pebble in that big pond of things that are happening in the metaverse. You're having these companies getting into these spaces, and they're going to dominate in those spaces for the most part because you do have a lot of, you get a lot of clout, right? You got a lot of players, artists, and athletes wearing Nike shoes. They have brand deals. They start getting into these metaverse areas, and you could see how this could be a huge money-making potentially for them. So something to be mindful of, something to keep an eye out. Next story is obviously Capitol Hill warms up to crypto. So, there we go. Warms up to crypto. So we had this happen over this week. Why is that going back to that? Yesterday, 6 crypto leaders appeared at the House Financial Service Committee hearing. Why is that doing that? There we go. Yesterday, 6 crypto leaders appeared at the House Financial Services Committee hearing titled Digital Assets and Future of Finance, Understanding the Challenges and Benefits of Financial Innovation in the United States, which explored how the government should oversee and improve regulation of the industry. The general sentiment of the hearing was positive towards the cryptocurrency industry. A dramatic shift from past years. It absolutely is. Very big change from what we've seen in the years prior. So this disposition surprised some, but it reflects an evolving view of the benefits of cryptocurrency technology and the fear that the U.S. is falling behind other countries such as China that have made noticeable progress towards launching a sovereign digital currency. China, they shouldn't really compare it to China or provide China as not an adversary, but competition, because though China is basically, how do I put it? They're in their own little bubble. Right, China has banned Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, everything else. They're doing everything they can to hold on to the power of the yuan or the digital yuan, which is what they're using. So I'd blow off China completely from this. Important part here. Witnesses generally called for greater regulatory clarity, especially based on how token and lending projects are currently regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and ways the industry would benefit from having one prudential regulator rather than the various regulatory agencies that have overlapping mandates. So this is true. You don't want overlapping regulatory bodies fighting over who has control over what. You want a framework that has one regulatory body basically overseeing it all and providing guidance and regulations on it, not 5 different governmental bodies working on it. So I totally agree with that. Interestingly, the industry's perspective was able to dominate the hearing testimony because no critics of cryptocurrency were among the witnesses. So here's a quote from founder and CEO of FTX. I found the discussion with the House committee to be, by and large, productive and helpful. Where we might have expected to see some hostility and grandstanding, we were actually met with insightful and well-meaning questions and discussions. I'm excited to keep engaging with lawmakers and regulators to streamline the domestic regulatory landscape. Samuel Bankman-Fried, founder and CEO of FTX. So that was obviously a positive wake on this. So here's everybody that participated. House Financial Services Committee Chairwoman Maxine Waters, House Financial Services Committee Ranking Member Patrick McHenry, and Brian P. Brooks, CEO Bitfury Group, Alicia Janine Haas, CEO Coinbase Inc. and CFO Coinbase Global. Jeremy Allaire, co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Circle. Samuel Bankman-Fried, founder and CEO of FTX. Charles Cascarilla, CEO and founder of Paxos Trust Company. And then Danelle Dixon, CEO and executive director, Stellar Development Foundation. So obviously some big wigs here attending this. So areas of focus were obviously the SEC regulation. The day's discussion centered on resolving the lack of clarity for the cryptocurrency industry faces, especially with regulators like the SEC applying old law to the new technology. As a reminder, the Howey test that is applied to token projects to determine whether one is a security is based on Supreme Court case law from 1946. I mean, that's almost 100 years ago. We could go basically 80 years ago. About an Orange Grove's SEC Chairman Gary Gensler has tried to rein in digital assets activities because he says many of the products resemble securities or investments contracts that fall under his jurisdiction, and is concerned by consumer protection and market manipulation. So we're using obviously old laws, which we shouldn't be doing. We should be looking at new laws for this. Important part here, Brian Brooks, CEO of Bitfury, a cryptocurrency mining company and former comptroller of the Office of Comptroller of Currency, described the SEC's approach as an impediment to cryptocurrency startups. Mr. Brooks indicated that the U.S. regulatory climate has driven legitimate activity offshore, harming the U.S. competitiveness in both the technology and capital markets sector. Here's a quote from him. What happens in the United States is you have a new crypto project and you walk into the SEC and you describe it in great deal and you ask for guidance and they say, we can't tell you, and you list it at your own peril, Mr. Brooks said. This is true. Coinbase tried to do basically allow people to stake their coins or to get, what's the word I'm looking for here? It was basically where you could get paid interest rate or get paid interest for holding your coins there. Kind of like what, I'm drawing a blank. BlockFi is doing, and some of the other guys are doing, where they're giving you basically an interest rate on what you're holding. They talked to the SEC about it. The SEC said, sure, go ahead and do it, but we're going to sue you for it. Well, what kind of help is that? So the more clarity we have, I think the better off we're going to be in the long run. So I just want to point that out. Another part here in Circle CEO Jeremy Lear's opening statement, he stated his belief that the U.S. should promote the use of the dollar as the primary currency of the internet, and how the USDC, a stablecoin overseen by Coinbase and Circle through the Center network, is helping to pave the way for digital dollars to be the leading currency of the internet. Charles Cascarella, CEO and founder of Paxos Trust Company, also focused parts of his opening statement on the advantages that cryptocurrencies, and more specifically stablecoins, have on the existing financial system. Cryptocurrencies and stablecoins improve the deficiencies of the current expensive and slow system that leaves millions underbanked. So all very true. Obviously, there's some worry with Tether, and I think we get into this here a little bit. The discussion also explored how not all stablecoins are created equal. USDC and the Paxos dollar are stablecoins issued in connection with heavily regulated exchanges like Circle, Coinbase, and Paxos. They are only backed by cash and cash equivalents, such as U.S. Treasury bonds. Other stablecoin projects like Tether, the largest in the world, have gotten in hot water over the last few years with allegations of market manipulation and false claims regarding reserves backing the coin. In February, Tether settled with the New York Attorney General over allegations that it lied about the reserves backing the coin. The CFTC earlier this month ordered Tether to pay $41 million over similar claims. The SEC is reportedly also investigating various stablecoin projects. So we got to be mindful of that. And today's hearing shows that crypto is making an impact in Washington. Engagement by the Blockchain Association, our allies in Washington, is driving a productive conversation between government and industry. It's clear from today's hearing that the industry turned a corner, while our members, the crypto innovators, continue to keep building. We will keep educating. Christine Smith, President of Blockchain Association. So we are obviously seeing a change in the perceived notion of cryptocurrencies and everything else. So good stuff there. I think this is all good. This is going to lead to eventual hopefully good regulations. We hope that's what's going to happen. We don't want bad regulations that are just going to drive out industry to other countries, to our neighboring friends up in North Canada or south to like Mexico or something like that, or even to Europe, in Switzerland, places like that. We as the U.S. want to be the leaders, and we should be the leaders. So I'm all for this. I think this is a good path forward. Getting as much regulations will help in the long run. Let me know what you guys think on this, obviously. Let me know on the Nike story as well. And looking at the perspective part of it, 3 years ago, we were at 3,100. We are at 46,000. We are in a little bit of a downturn in crypto right now. Will that reverse? I hope it does. I think everybody hopes it does, but we will see. We may have a little bit more pain before we start going back up, but that's what it is. Again, thank you guys so much for subscribing. For those of you that have, those that haven't, please subscribe. I talk about crypto, things like this, miners, things that interest me and hopefully interest you guys as well. And I hope you guys learned something from this. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,